Good morning, Freedom Team. Happy Monday morning. Hope everybody had a wonderful, wonderful weekend. As always, so excited to kick off Mondays. We get to interview somebody who is just rocking it in revenue share. And for those that are on here, I know all of us want to build a big, big group, and this lady has done just that and has a pretty incredible, really, truly incredible background. Before we kick it off, you guys know we do this 4 days a week, Monday through Thursday, same time, same Zoom link. And tomorrow, who did I see? We have Russ Lagan coming on. Russ is
Oh,
always
wow.
phenomenal, guys. So definitely jump on there tomorrow to help grow the transactions. But um, and for those again, I know it's kind of a last minute, but obviously a lot of us are heading to Miami for EXPCon next week and getting together Monday night at the Ole Ole Steakhouse from 5:30 to 7. If you have not registered, you still can. A lot of people have places where you can stay if you need some help there, but definitely reach out to any of us if you have any questions about that at all. But let's kick off here with Denise's background. Listen to this bio. Born into humble beginnings, Denise defied the odds to become a self-made millionaire, a two-time TEDx speaker, and award-winning seven-figure realtor. Growing up with a single mom on welfare, Denise's journey is a testament to resilience and determination. Prior to establishing herself as one of Vancouver's top 1% realtors since 2010, Denise honed her skills working with two Fortune 500 companies. With a portfolio boasting 10 properties and a staggering 12 million, Denise's expertise as an investor is unmatched. In 23, Denise founded the Mai Real Estate Group, driven by her passion for helping others achieve their real estate goals and helping realtors become the best versions of themselves. In just 1 year, her team soared to new heights, qualifying for the top 10% medallion team and securing a spot among the top 10 teams in British Columbia for January 2024. Denise is not just a success story, she's an inspiration dedicated to empowering others to reach their full potential in the world of real estate and beyond. With her unwavering commitment to excellence and a heart of gold, Denise continues to redefine what it means to turn dreams into reality. Well, Denise, we could probably just drop the mic right there, dear. That about says it all. Sounds like anything you touch turns to gold. So, as a group here, obviously, all of us are very intrigued, and some of us have a rev share team, or some are trying to just get out of the gates. But why don't we start off? Obviously, you come from humble beginnings, but anything else that you'd like to share with us about your background and maybe what pushed you into real estate?
Yeah, no. Well, first of all, thank you so much for that introduction. Honored to be here, and thank you so much to each of every one of you who took some time to be here. Yeah, so that was a little bit of, I guess, me in a nutshell. But how I got into real estate was I was actually going to university planning to go into the corporate world. I was planning to climb up that corporate ladder, become a CEO one day. And then I realized after doing it for a couple of years that I didn't want to be somebody where my income was going to be determined by someone else. I was going to be getting maybe 1 or 2% raise a year. So at that time, I was working at Johnson and Johnson, and I was talking to one of the CEOs at LifeScan, which is a division of Johnson and Johnson, and he's like, "Denise, why don't you try real estate?" And at the time, I was 25 years old, actually 24. And I was like, who's going to trust this 24-year-old to sell their $1 million homes here in Vancouver? And so, long story short, I entered this contest and I decided to target realtors. And in this contest, whoever sold the most advertisement would win a trip somewhere in the world. So, me and one of my best friends entered. And one thing is that we targeted realtors. So, we booked 5 appointments. And then the next day, she calls me at 4 in the morning and she's like, Denise, I'm so sorry. We've been arguing all night. We can't make it. I can't make it. So she leaves me hanging. So in the end, long story short, I end up winning the contest on my own. But because I won that contest, it really gave me that belief in myself that I could sell and that I could do it. So that's when I really entered real estate. And here I am, like 14 years later, and never looked back.
Wonderful. So take us up to the point where you end up joining EXP. How did that happen? How were you approached? And maybe what was it that really pulled you into want to join EXP?
For sure. So I was with Remax for 10 years. I started with Remax. I was with always with Remax. And the thing with me was I thought I was going to be a lifer at Remax, right? I had all the awards, the accolades. I had my Diamond Awards, my Hall of Fame awards, right? So when I got approached with this opportunity at EXP, I still remember I got a call from one of my Bill Laidler at the time, and I think I forgot who his upline was, but he was some coach at that time who wrote this book. I forgot his name right now. But he's like, Denise, I have this opportunity and I thought of you. I want you to just, take a look at it, right? And so, of course, I watched the video. And once I saw the video, for me, it clicked. Like, I'm like, wow. Because for me, I've tried MLMs before. I've actually tried USANA. I've looked into USANA. I've looked into other companies. And obviously, this is not really MLM. But for me, when I saw the model, I'm like, wow, I got it. So for me, I literally, after seeing the video, I'm like, I'm in, right? But I'm a driver, right? So I make quick decisions, and I'm like, for me, I'm like, I didn't want to miss this opportunity because I would have been like, you know what? I'm gonna try it. Worst case scenario, I'll always go back to Remax. So me and John Sai, who's also my business partner,
Ah,
decided to join. But the difference was that John took 4 months to decide because he's analytical. So he like analyzed the company. He talked to like everybody that he could, like Brent Gove and everybody, and he like interviewed everybody. And I always tell everyone like the one biggest mistake or one regret a bit that I had about joining EXP is that I wish I joined 3 months earlier and put John Sai underneath me and sponsored him. Because John is that like I think he has about 1,200 in his downline, and but I joke about that. But no,
yeah.
honestly, EXP has changed my life, and it's one of the best decisions I've ever made. So
And I'm assuming you saw Brent Gove's video. Is that the one you saw back in 2019?
I think it was. Yes, I think it was. Yeah.
Okay. And you said something interesting. I always used to hear this all the time. Successful people make decisions quickly and change them slowly. You can
Mm,
sometimes go the other way. Unsuccessful people make decisions slowly, change them quickly. But there are analytical people. I get it right. The analysis from paralysis from over analysis. But
yeah.
yeah, John's a massive success, but obviously jumped in this thing and just tore it up. But okay, so you end up coming on board.
Yes.
So obviously coming, you had, it sounded like you had rental properties, you had huge production going on. Did you immediately jump into rev share? Did you slowly start? Kind of how did it begin with you?
For me, it was really organic. When I joined, I said, you know what, I'm going to talk because after being in the industry for, I think at that time it was like around 10 years, you've built some friendships or you've built some relationships with certain realtors. And so those were probably the first few realtors I reached out to first. And so I probably brought on about 4 to 5 agents quite easily. And I think that because they trusted me, we had this relationship. They say, you know what, let's do this. But of course, they didn't jump right away. I think a few of them did kind of take a few months to kind of make that decision because for a lot of people, it is a big decision. And I think that I reached out to a lot of my Remax colleagues. And what I've realized about Remax agents is that a lot of times their identity is tied to the brokerage. Their
Mm,
identity is tied to the accolades and awards that they've gotten. And it's almost as if they leave that brokerage, they leave that piece of them there, and it's almost like it's an ego thing that they
mm,
can't like start over. It's almost like if they come at EXP, they're like they're starting from scratch, they're not who they were. Like it feels like a huge move for them when reality it's like they're looking at it way too small. They're not taking a step back, removing their ego from the situation and being like, you know what, this company has so much opportunity and they don't. So it depends on who you're talking to, but that's what I've realized when I've been reaching out to some of my Remax colleagues.
gotcha. Can you recall? I know that's been about almost 4 years ago, but for those right now, because we have a couple who have just recently joined that are on here,
Mm.
do you remember how those conversations went? So these are people you had great relationships with. Do you remember, were you following a similar system to how you were approached, setting up and having them watch a video, or do you recall kind of how it started in those early days?
Yeah, I think for me, it was like the same sort of, I think that in the beginning when I first joined, it was that model. Like send them the video, watch it with them, and make sure you answer their questions. And it was that's how I've always kind of done it. I've sent the video, and it's like at the end of the day, does it resonate with you? Do you have any questions? But the key is to make sure you follow up and make sure that they actually watched it and watched all of it and see if they have any questions, because it's a lot of information packed in one video. So you really got to sometimes dissect it or be there with them while they're watching it so that you're going to be able to answer their questions. So the way I did it was send them the video. Yeah.
Okay. And you're saying send a video. So did you find yourself sending the video, they would watch it, then you would follow up and see what
Yes.
if they had any questions and if it resonated with them? Okay.
Yeah.
Because I know
That's
that's been challenging for me and for a lot of people to send a video. I always say when someone asks me that, I'll always say, you know what, Denise, I'd love to send a video, but I've been doing this 7.5 years. I've got a big group for a reason. 9 out of 10 people just won't watch it. Why don't we do this? You or me, and why don't you and I just jump on for 15 minutes? Let's just watch it together. Anyway, I kind of go that route because it seems like I'm playing chase. Is there any certain verbiage you might use when you send it, or is it because your relationship is just so good, you know they're going to watch it with the ones you have that rapport with?
Yeah, the ones that I have the rapport with, like, keep in mind, like, these are people that I have rapport with, right? And I do agree with you. If they're like a colleague that I kind of know, don't really know, they may watch it, they may not, right? So that's why, like, it doesn't, like, I agree with you, it doesn't always work, not everybody watches it, but you have to really be able to kind of catch some of their pain points. Like,
Yeah.
what is, and when I share EXP with people now, I genuinely share. I share with them about how this company has truly transformed my life and how it has helped me, right? And if you can dive into that pain point that they have, then they're like, okay, you know what? I will watch this. Like, what? Okay,
Hmm.
say that. Like, so you have to make it compelling for them to actually want to watch it. And we can't be like vomiting all over them like EXP. We have to really kind of listen to what their pain point is. Are they feeling alone in this business? Are they struggling with numbers? Like, what is it? And if it is, just say, we have an amazing group. We have like the tools that you need. It sounds like you need actually a CRM. We have that built in into at EXP. I really think this video, if you just take like 5 minutes just to watch this video, I really think it could help change your life. And when you kind of say it in such a genuine, like honest manner,
Mhm.
where you're truly trying to help someone, it really makes a difference. That's what I found.
So when you're having that dialogue, I'm assuming on this initial phone call, are there any specific, do you, because I know you were asking me, do I have like a list of questions and you and I are just going to go back and forth. I did when I first started, I told you now it's just trying to get to know you. So when you're talking to that agent that you do have a relationship with, how do you start to kind of dig for the pain points? What's some of the verbiage, if you don't mind me just being direct, that you might ask to pull that out of them?
Absolutely. And this could be on the phone or it could be in person, right? It's like I usually just keep it super casual, like how's business? Like how's business going for you right now? Like, like what's, and then they'll usually like tell you a little bit. And it's really like the way I see it, it's like a client, like selling is not telling, selling's asking questions. So from there, I'm like, how's your business? Oh, it's not that great. It's like, oh, what's happening? Like what's exactly that you're kind of working on? And some questions I ask is like, what's your goal for this year? Like, what are you planning to sell? How much have you sold in the last couple of years? And I think because I've been coached by Mike Ferry, I've been like trained to for us, it's so normal to ask people like, what's your goal? What's your target this year to hit? Like, what's your commission goal? Like, what have you been doing in the last, like, have you been always hitting these goals every year? Like, are you wanting to double it? What do you think is holding you back from doubling your goal? Or because every year we like from a Mike Ferry standpoint, we always want to double our production. And it's like, what's holding you back? What do you really is
Hmm.
holding? And really like dig deep. And then it's like as they slow first, when they usually answer the question, they usually kind of give you this like masked answer. But as you kind of like, and you can't be interrogative, it's got to be very like conversational and genuine. And as you go on, they'll slowly open up more and more. And you
Hmm.
kind of, it's like unraveling an onion. It's like going deeper and deeper through the layers until you get to the core of what's their real struggle. And if you can really get to that core and be like, you know what? I really empathize with you. Like you, if you were in that position, I was there, you know, and I completely feel you. And I think that I really think we have like, and you could tell them, be genuine about it. Like, I really
Yeah.
feel there's something here. And I think you have such like for me, sometimes I'm like, I think you have such great energy. I think I'd love to partner with you. And if it goes in that direction, obviously some people are like, what do you mean partner? Like you have to kind of read the room, read the person.
Yeah.
So I don't have a set of questions. I go from like a very heart center approach. And I feel like if you actually come from a heart center approach of genuineness and that you actually care about that person, you know, they'll see that. And don't come off salesy. That's the key.
Exactly, exactly. And you said a key word that a lot of us all grab from Rob Flick. You're looking for somebody who has the right energy, right? You
Mm,
ever heard Rob talk about that?
mm.
So may I ask you this? So when you end up, whether they've watched the video ahead of time, whether you get on and watch it with them, as you move from that point on after they watch the video, do you generally bring in a third party, or do you sometimes just answer the questions and move them forward yourself, or what does it look like as you work on bringing them on board?
You know, for me, I remember it's always like we got to leverage our upline, right? And so, yeah, I definitely do bring on, like, let's say, whether it be like John Sai or Simone, like, or even like Brent. There are a few times where I was talking to some brokerage owners while I was trying to make some like big things happen that I definitely did reach out to my upline. So it depends on who it is that I'm talking to. And if it's somebody that owns a brokerage, I'm going to bring on somebody that has had that experience before. If it's a newer agent, I usually could handle them myself. But if it's somebody that I feel like their energy would match with, let's say John, like, you know, a super top producer, and like I feel like they would really connect, I would definitely bring somebody on with me to the meeting or on the phone call. So it'd be like a three-way conversation and be like, this is my partner. I really wanted you to just, you know, meet them or have a conversation with them. I think you
Yeah.
guys really connect. Yeah.
And right now, I don't even think I asked you, Denise, what is your current FLQA and team size?
So I have a team of 6 agents, and that's part of my Mai Real Estate Group. I have 16 in my frontline qualifying, and I have 255 in my entire group.
Congratulations. Okay,
Thank
that is awesome. So right now, so you've been on board about 4 years. The activity level that you, pardon me, spend on your revenue share right now, are you taking an hour a day? Has that changed? Maybe let me back up to begin with. When you first came on board, did you set aside a certain amount of time to do attraction? And has that changed now that you've been here about 4 years with this big a group? What does your daily activity look like toward rev share? The beginning and kind of where we're at now.
You know, I'm gonna be honest, like for me, it's be like my attraction has always been organic. Like I'm only gonna approach somebody with about EXP if I feel that I'm not gonna I like, you know, and this is different model than compared to John, right? It depends because John's like it's a numbers game. You just talk, the more people you talk to, the more people you bring on, which is why he's where he's at, right? And I
Yeah.
think for me, I was just like, you know, if I feel a connection with this person, or if there's something that I feel that they need, it was more of an organic approach. And so that's why I brought on a few good, I would say, generals. And they've brought on a large amount of people, right? So, you know, I think that's the key thing. If you can bring on generals, and when I mean generals, I mean like leaders, who really want to grow this, it makes your job easier. So instead of bringing on like 10 newer agents, I've brought on, like, I would say 3 to 4 really strong leaders and generals that have really grown my entire rev share group.
Yeah. So today, what does your activity look like? Here we are starting this week off. It's Monday morning with a group of almost 300 agents right now. Are you spending, I know you're talking about organic, but do you
Yes.
set aside like block time, like, okay, I've got an hour here I'm going to spend toward rev share, or do you just kind of weave it in throughout the day?
I weave it in like when like when I'm like, let's say if I'm, because I'm still in production personally, and
Yeah.
something I kind of choose to be because I'm growing my team. It's more organic with, I'm like, let's say for example, talking to an agent about a deal, and after we close, I'm like, this is a good opportunity because either I take them for coffee, take them for lunch. Like we kind of have like a little celebratory thing. And that's usually when my opportunity is like, okay, let me get to know this person, right? Let's see what we can do. And you've built so much rapport with this person after doing a transaction. Usually that's usually when the time I really want to kind of be like, let's see if this person could be somebody want to partner with and would see the value in EXP.
I
So it's
got
all
you.
that simple. There's no set time frame. So to
I
answer,
like it. So
yeah.
most of your, so you're not doing really any kind of cold calling. Yours is almost always done with people that you've met in the marketplace, people you're doing transactions with. So help everybody here that's still in production. Um, you've had a conversation with them maybe on multiple occasions during this transaction. It goes to closing. Do you just invite them to coffee? Hey, let's get together and celebrate this. What does that look like? Kind of help with the dialogue for those here that might have a transaction get ready to close this week. How do you kind of weave that in and lead to asking them questions and so forth?
Absolutely. And I think you can't just kind of like drop that in, but like usually I say, hey, like especially when we're in the thick of negotiations or something, I'd be like, when this is all done, we gotta go have a drink. We gotta go grab a bite. Like we gotta celebrate after this. Cause
Yeah,
a lot of times you're in that trenches with the agent. And I kind of plant that little seed like somewhere in the middle of the transaction. And then once the transaction's done, it's like, hey, so let's go, hey, let's go grab that drink. It's on me. As I mentioned, when are you free this week? Would Thursday or Friday be better, right? And so I
okay.
kind of plant a few seeds in between during the transaction, and then I kind of go for the close near the end. So in terms of verbiages, I that's usually what I say. It's like, hey, I don't drink personally, actually. But I say, do you want to grab a drink or a bite? Because I don't want people to feel committed to having a whole on full on meal together. Because some people are like, you're busy. I get it, right? So it's like, hey, let's grab a drink, whether it be coffee or something like that. And I kind of weave that into the conversation. And near the end, I go for the close. Yes.
I got you. So you don't mind me digging deep here just for a
Oh.
minute for those again. So you end up meeting for coffee. And I know
Mhm.
you said earlier, you just trying to get to know them deeper. What are their goals? What are some of the challenges you're having? In the midst of that, do you then at coffee end up sharing EXP or do you set an additional meeting and maybe have a Zoom or meet back for coffee a second time?
I usually try to talk about EXP, but like I'll bring up EXP for sure. Like, because the thing is, for me, it's like you have that one opportunity. It's like if if it comes up, I'm gonna bring it up. But if it's and this is again the energy thing. You have to
Yeah,
really be a bit sensitive because I think right now everybody just feels like EXP is everyone's just trying to recruit. So in
yeah,
the back of everyone's mind, it's different from when I joined, right? Because when I joined, EXP was a new concept still. Like people were like, what is EXP? And honestly, people still don't know what EXP truly is,
agreed.
right? A lot of people just think that if you're an EXP agent, you're just going to try to recruit them. So you almost have to, it's a bit where you have to get through that, like even of a bit of a thicker barrier now of getting through those walls. But if you can break down those walls and truly show them what EXP is about, that's the key. And I think when, let's say, for example, if I'm sitting down with them and we're having coffee and I'm like, yeah, like how long you been doing this? And keep in mind, like sometimes I like to target Remax agents, right?
Yeah.
20 years. Like how long are you planning to continue in real estate? Right? Because it's like, what's your retirement plan? And I think that is such a huge question. Because if they're like, oh yeah, I have tons of real estate, I'm just working because I want to. I don't really have to work, like that
Mhm.
motivation to want to have that retirement plan isn't there. But if they're like, you know what, honestly, I don't know when I'm going to retire. I still got our grandchildren coming, I've
Mhm.
got my kids in university, I've got these bills. And I'd be like, wow, that's like, and then they usually ask me, how's real estate for me? And I usually tell them, I'm like, honestly, I work in real estate now because I want to, not because I have to anymore. And they're like,
Mhm.
what do you mean by that? Right. And then you get them asking you questions. It's like, well, honestly, it's like since I've joined EXP, like I've had this rev share and it's really, really changed my life. And they're like, what's rev share? Right. And so, and when they start asking you questions, and you kind of give them just like a little tidbit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of a little bit of EXP. And then that's how they get, it's like, what's rev share? Well, rev share is like, and honestly, I've have my real estate business. It's going great, but I've also brought on some agents from other brokerages. And I tell them, I'm like, when I was with Remax, I would bring on an agent. My broker would give me $1,000 referral, and that was it. They'd say, thank you, Denise. Thank you for the referral, and that's it. But now at EXP, every time I bring somebody on, I get a small percentage of what they make. And it's such a collaborative environment. And it makes it such a win-win situation. And so now when I bring people on, I really want them to succeed. And by them succeeding, we all win. And they're like, oh, okay. And it's like, and some of them, it's like, it's like I kind of own my own brokerage now, but without all the liability. And they're like,
Mm-hmm.
so so I share with them kind of like those kind of authentic, like genuine conversations.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like an example of like how the conversation would go. And they're like, so it really gets their mind churning, and you want to like get them excited. You want to get them excited and be like, what? And you also have to get them to see that it's possible for them, that
Mm-hmm.
EXP is possible. Because if they don't see it, they're like, oh yeah, you can do it, but that's not for me. It's like, honestly, I've brought on a lot of agents who don't like talking to other agents. So that's why I'm here. Like, I'm here to help you. I really, and you have to be genuine about it. Like, I really want to see you succeed. I don't want to see you struggling, because I see you right now. You have, and you bring it back. Like, I know your kids are going through university, or you have
Uh-huh.
grandchildren you want to take care of. Like I know you want the best for your family, right? So let's just, let's do another. And then at that time, it's like, if they're still uncertain and you feel like you need someone else to close it, bring
Yeah.
up bring your upline. I think we should have another coffee meeting with my partner, and I think that it would really benefit you and your family. And then set up that second appointment if needed.
Gotcha. So everything I love it. Everything you do is you're just genuine from the heart, just filling things out and just so I could continue to ask all kinds of questions. You guys as a group that's here right now, any questions you have for Denise about anything? If you want to go backwards, where she's at now, because I got things going through my mind like what do you do when you first bring an agent on? But before I continue, questions, guys, about anything. Ask Denise.
I do.
Yeah,
Surprise.
go, Kelly.
You talked a little bit about the momentum that you created, Denise, and about bringing in generals. Talk to me about strategy. Only 1 in 10 agents really ever leans into revenue share at all. How do you identify your generals, and how do you help them create some momentum for themselves so that they stay close and they create that success?
Ooh, that's a great question. So identifying generals, that's, honestly, it's you, anyone can be a general, but they have to want to be a general themselves. And they need to want to grow their own rev share. And it's like, I always tell, whether it be clients or agents, it's like, you can't motivate unmotivated people at the end of the day. If they're unmotivated, you can lead a horse to drink, but you can't force them to drink water. And there's only so much you can do. So to identify, like for me, it's like when I have that conversation, I can just tell by how hungry they are. The hungrier the person is, the stronger of an agent or an EXP agent they'll be. And people who are hungry will see the opportunity. And I think it's about finding those people who are really struggling, who are hungry, and who want to make it work. And so, yeah, when I bring these people on, sorry, was there a second part to your question? Because how do you identify the generals? And was there a second
And
part
then
to your
how do you help them create success, some immediate success, so that they lean in versus say, this isn't for me?
I see. How to create their immediate success. It's, you know, I wouldn't say a lot of them had like quick immediate success. Like some of them did, like they brought on a few people. But I'd say, right when they join, there's an onboarding process, right? That everyone has. And there's obviously, they have their onboarding specialist that they talk to. And I say, hey, like if there's anybody that you want, that you're on the top of your mind that you want to talk to, let's set up a meeting with them. I'd love to meet with them. So that's right away. I'm trying to set up appointments with them, kind of bring them on. And a lot of the agents that I bring on, to be honest, they're like just want to produce. So sometimes like it's not that they're interested in EXP, because for me now, I just want to bring on productive agents. So
Mhm.
if they want the EXP side, great. But if they want the production side, that's what I focus on too. So it really depends on what the client or what the agent wants.
Yeah, I think I'm the same way when, so we all joke around and go, how do you know someone who's going to really do rev share and who's not, right? It's not like they have some kind of sign on them, so it's hard to tell. But I agree with what you said. How hungry are they? Do they have any retirement set up? What does it look like? Do they have to do this the rest of their life because they don't see a way to get out of real estate? Yeah, so I think by asking several questions, you start to find out if somebody's a little nervous about, you know what, I don't know if I'll ever retire. You get that kind of thing, right? I'll probably sell to the day I die because they can't figure out how to get out. So it's all through questions, no doubt. Speaking of questions, come on, group. You're on here for a reason today. What would you like to know from Miss Denise?
Denise, I appreciate your time. Have you noticed creating a place for your agents to refer you until they believe in agent attraction? Has that been a value where they run into an agent and then refer it to you?
Oh, I see. Like when they talk about EXP, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
in their day to day, they haven't really believed they can grow agent share, but all of a sudden they run into an agent. Have you created a place where they can refer that person to connect directly with you?
Yeah, I have created a, because for me it's always been, I've been super open and genuine with everybody. I'm like, give me a call. I need you to reach out to me if you need any help. I can't read your mind. And I always tell them that, right? And I always say, if you have anybody that is even considering, like just point them out to me. But I don't find a lot of my agents kind of just refer out. They usually just they usually have that conversation, and they usually bring up my name in the conversation. And if we do set up a time to meet, and we kind of like jump on a three-way call. That's how we usually kind of like set up meetings. But I've also found, I don't know, I'm part of this non-sponsored agent program that's part of EXP as well. So a lot of times if there's an agent who doesn't have a sponsor, I actually connect them with some of my downline, and they're like, wow, Denise is bringing people to me. So then they're more inclined to be like, okay, I really want, and once somebody has like one person or even two people underneath them, it's harder for them to leave, and they're more motivated to grow when they start seeing a bit of that rev share coming in. Hopefully that answers your question.
Definitely helps.
Shante had a question here.
Who did?
Shante, if you look at the chat.
Oh,
Did
Shante.
you start with agents coming under you as you being their sponsor first, or did you jump straight into having your own team?
Oh, okay. So I came in. Okay, did I start with any agents under me? When I came in, I didn't have my official team yet. No. I had probably two buyers agents that I was working with that did come with me. But at that time, it was only two. It wasn't the six agents now. And actually, those two are not with EXP anymore. I've kind of like changed up my team. So now I've just kind of brought on six of my agents, and the rest are just independent agents now.
I got you. So the six agents you have that are on board right now, out of curiosity, do you just have them? Do you feed them leads and so forth? Is why they're coming to you?
For the independent agents, you
The,
mean?
the, the traditional team, because you've got six on a traditional team, right? And then the other 250 something are on your rev share team. I'm just curious, your six that you brought on, do you have them set up to where you're feeding them leads and helping them with different things?
Yeah, so the six agents that I have on my team right now, we run a definitely traditional team. So, a lot of the times we're carrying anywhere between 18 to 19 listings at a time. So
Okay.
they're helping with I don't do any buyers anymore. So they are helping me with all the buyer transactions, the open houses, the listings. A lot of them are like co-listing as well with me. So I'm at a point in my career where I just like I give away some of the pie. There's tons of pie out there. So I just give away a lot of the pie now as well. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you, moving forward, what does it look like for Denise? Where do you want to be in 1 year, 3 years, 5 years? What does the big picture look like for you?
Wow, I love this question. So actually this year, one thing I'm actually wanting to focus on is building a community. And and I actually just came up with the name of our group.
Mhm,
It's going to be called Life Changers. And
mhm,
the reason I came up with that, I was like, anybody who comes into our group or organization, I want them to know their life is going to be changed. And I don't say that just to say that, but that's literally my mission or my passion is that I want them to come in here and be truly grateful that they actually like met this group and really changed their life for the better. And so that's one thing I'm working on is creating that community. And I just moved into this house I'm at right now. So I'm planning a Christmas party for a lot of my tier ones and their tier twos and potentially tier threes. And just kind of create that community where it's like, hey, this is why we're at EXP. This is why you chose me as your sponsor. And really like step into that next level. I'm also starting a course. I'm creating a top 1% realtor course where I'm going to be
mm,
helping realtors become the top 1% agent, and just open up my entire blueprint, my success manual of how I got to where I am. And yes, it took me, I would say it took me 4 years to become a millionaire. It took me 10 years to own 10 properties. But if I can help somebody do it in half the time, that's what I'm going to do. So those are probably my two biggest
mm,
goals. And then my third goal would be becoming a mega team. I don't want to be huge, but I want to be at about 10 to 11 agents in my traditional team. And in
mhm.
my organization, I definitely do want to double my frontline qualifying to at least 36 by end of next year.
Love it. And so you've been doing this organically, it sounds like right in Vancouver for the most part. So is your team, most of your 250 something up there in Canada, or is it starting to kind of branch itself into the US?
I have Toronto, I have Florida. I have like a really crazy sergeant in Toronto. He's brought on at least 100 or so agents.
Wow.
Yeah. Florida, I have an amazing agent there. She's brought on a few over there. And I had some in California, but then not anymore. So yeah, like I am branching out, but I think that for me at this stage of my career, I want to be in a position where I'm like attracting more. I'm a whole believer in, manifestation and, I'm like at a point in my career where I'm not chasing clients anymore. I'm
Yeah.
attracting them, and it's going to be the same with rev share, and bringing on exp agents, and I want to attract them through my course and coming out with more value and be like, wow, when they talk to me or when they see me, it's like they know they're going to get value from me and they want to be aligned with me. And that's kind of the how I want to really start approaching it for 2025.
Do you think are many agents you just said, are they coming to you right now? Because obviously you being top 1%, I'd imagine most of the area around there know who you are, or, so are they coming to you right now because of your production, your social media presence? How are you attracting them if you're not doing a transaction with them?
Yes. So I do get inquiries from people who want to join our team. So that has been a way of to bring people in as well. But not everybody wants to be on a team, right? And so
Mhm.
I'm also very protective of who I bring on my traditional team. I'm just not letting like just anybody in because I am very protective of the energy. We have such a good team, such good synergy that if I tell them it's not the right fit for the team, but you can come into our organization, you're still
Mm.
getting the benefits. But I think right now and I said we're not really hiring. I don't really tell them you're not a good fit. We're just
Yeah,
not at the moment. That's the
I
approach.
got you. So
Mhm.
so then they'll join your rev share team, and if they decide they feel like they need help and it works out, then you might bring them in the traditional team if they need it.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And if they are a good fit, then yes, I would. Yeah.
So let's go out 3 years. Where do you see yourself in 3 years with your rev share group?
In 3 years, it's definitely for me, I would say once I hit my like 45, 50, I really want to start now like giving my agents that have joined me people, right? Like I think once I hit 50, I'm a giver by heart. So
Yeah.
I just want to truly see the people underneath me succeed. And a lot of times, even now, I don't necessarily put them in my frontline qualifying. If there's somebody that we both know, I always put them underneath the person who, whether they brought them in. And that's been like something with even me and John, because we know a lot of the same people. So if we both know them, we always put it underneath the person that we all know. So that approach has really kind of helped strengthen our group overall, I would say.
Yeah. I definitely highly recommend that, guys. I did the same thing when we first started. The moment you bring an agent on, as they're gathering their list together, see who it is you know together, and you're going to help them put that agent below them. Yeah, definitely. And for some of you that really haven't kicked the ball over and started to do this, as you make that list, think about that. The moment you bring an agent on, if it's a friend of yours, you guys probably know agents together. And now you can help inspire that agent you just brought on, saying, look, I'm going to help you. Everything you and I just did, well, let's go after Tom, Bill, Tom. We've known them all for the last few years and help them bring on agents that you both know. Definitely agree with that. Other questions here, guys, for Denise. Yes, ma'am, Kelly.
I would, kind of a two-part. As you sit down, have coffee with somebody, connect, you kind of know where they're going, and then they don't move right away. What does your follow-up look like after that?
Good.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's like, so let's say if they're not moving right away, just be like, yeah, just wanted to kind of check in and see what's going on in your life. Like first it'll be like, what's happening? Like, but I don't really say it directly, like what's happening. It's more so like, hey, just wanted to check in, just see what your thoughts are on EXP and what do you honestly think? Like, and try to have that honest conversation with them. And if they can tell you, just be like, it's not the right time right now. It's a lot going on. That's kind of a lot of times I hear they'll come up with some sort of excuse, be like, okay, yeah, no, absolutely. Like, and I kind of be like, like what's going on right now that you think that's holding you back, right? And for me, it's like whatever usually excuse they give me, I usually dig deeper, right? And I think that you're so great with asking questions, with digging deep with me. It's like doing that with the EXP agent. It's like digging deeper to be like, what's really honestly holding you back, would you say? It's like, and then they'll share, and based on what they say, I'll see if I can help them solve that problem, because we're problem solvers. Is it because when they say it's not the right time, I don't put, and it's again sensing that is it, I don't want to be too pushy. And if it's not the right time, I'd be like, no worries. I'm more than happy to kind of like touch base with you a couple months like down the road. Like, when do you think would be a better time? And just kind of, they're like, maybe the end of the year or whatever it is. And I'll put a little note in my calendar just to follow up, because we don't want to come off super pushy. If it's not the right time or whatever reason they give that you think is genuine, that is really holding them back, that's not an objection, but more like a condition, then I give them their space, because some people, this is a big decision for them, and we have to give them that time and space to kind of make that decision and come to it on their own.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Alina, go ahead. You can unmute
Yeah,
yourself.
thank you. Thank you so much for giving me this chance to ask my question. I was curious, how do you choose where to create a team, where to expand, which market? Do you do any kind of market analysis to see how many agents, the price points, or you just go with the flow, whoever comes your way?
Well, I started like my traditional team, you mean, or?
Yes.
Okay.
And like you open Florida, what made you decide to go Florida? Did you know, I don't know if you met agents, you had relatives, friends over there, or why
Yes.
Florida?
Yes, that's a great question. So in terms of my traditional team, I started in Vancouver, born and raised here. So it just made sense for me to start my traditional team here. We have, really good price points. Real estate is very expensive here. So having a team made sense. In terms of like starting my, I guess, satellite teams in Toronto and Florida, because I was with a coaching company, which was Mike Ferry that I mentioned. I was a coaching client with them for about 8-9 years. I built a lot of relationships with other agents across North America. So the agents that I know in Florida and Toronto, we were with Mike Ferry at one time. So that's why we have a kind of a really deeper kind of connection and relationship and friendship from before. So it was quite easy that way to bring on those people from other countries or from the other.
Yeah, thank
So
you. Mike Ferry is an excellent source of good agents, good
yes,
groups, good trainings. Yeah, excellent. Thank you.
anybody who's part of Mike Ferry, I know they're pretty driver. They're usually a driver and they usually make quick decisions. And they usually get it, right? So, but of course, I
Yeah.
actually was coaching now for 5 years. But so I haven't like built any new connections. But I think, you know, if you're part of a coaching program, or if you're part of something like real estate
Yeah.
related, that's another way to really build good connections.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you.
Go ahead, Mr. Melvin.
Yes. Denise, thanks for sharing. I got a golden nugget today when you said that at your brokerage, was your brokerage a Remax?
Yes, it
Yeah,
was.
at brokerage, when you brought an agent in, they gave you $1,000.
Yeah.
I used to own ERA office. That's what we did too. I never used that though when I was in recruiting, but we gave an agent that recruits someone $1,000, and it was $250 off their first 4 transactions. Now, if they recruit somebody, they have unlimited income. So I have something to use. But far as your goals is concerned, your 2-year, 3-year, 5-year goals, are they written out?
Yes, they are. Well, you know, actually, the thing with me, I'm really big on manifestation. And when I know everyone uses this term, but I'm going to give you a little bit of sort of a story and a little bit of background and how and why. When I was about 7 years old, when I was really young, my parents used to leave me home alone at night. So, because they used to go to casino, they have like this, a bit of a gambling addiction. So at 7 and 8, being home alone, you're always scared. So at a very young age, I found strength through prayer. So I always prayed to God for strength. And since I was such a little girl, everything I prayed for, that I've wanted, I've been able to achieve. And so that's how strong of a believer I am in, I call it manifestation, but it's about being visually clear with what it is that you truly want. And this is why I kind of told you guys that the title of today is how to design your destiny, because I truly believe we're all capable to design our destiny. It doesn't matter where you came from. You know, I came from, as you guys kind of heard, welfare. My mom was a single mom. She had me at 40. We were very broke. I remember like going to like the food bank and lining up for Christmas dinners. Like those were like my childhoods. But because the way I grew up, it's made me who I am. And sorry, I'm going on a tangent right now, but
Roll.
yeah. But when that's why now when I'm now coming up with a 1-year or 3-year goals, I really take some time, and I feel like people don't take enough time right now to just be still. And when I say be still, like for half an hour, take some time to think, to visualize. And I think visualize is the key to be able to picture yourself 3 years from now, what it is that you want to achieve. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, for me, it's going to be having a family. And that's why for me, I've been slowing down in a way, but also speeding up, because I'm really wanting to be in a place where in my life where I can actually step away from business and actually like focus on having a family. And so, you know, 3 years to me is like having an amazing share. Like I see myself having such a successful rev share group through my community, where they're not depending on me now to bring people in. I have so many generals in my group that we are just attracting people because they want to be part of the community I've built and the energy we have, because it's a lonely business out there and not everybody gets to be part of something special. And so that's what I already visualize me creating something special that just people want to come to be a part of because they see the value. And then I'm also having a baby on the side. So
And where are your generals based out of? Like you're in Canada, right?
I am in Canada. So I'm in Vancouver. I have a general in Toronto. I would say I have another general in Florida, and actually in Calgary as well. I have a general in Calgary, Alberta, which is the next province over as well. So I probably have 4 or 5 generals. And here in Vancouver, I probably have about 2 generals over here as well.
Nice, nice. Well, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And I'm assuming when you say general, just somebody who picked up the ball, started running and building a rev share group.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Somebody
it's
who is a leader, who is
yeah.
like, who have more than like 3 to 5 people in their downline and they want to grow it and they're taking steps on growing it. So that's what,
So
yeah.
so back over kind of what Kelly was asking to begin with. So what do you do with your group of almost 300? Do you guys have a meeting once a week? Do you have something like this where you interview agents, or do you have a time where you role play with them? What do you do to help the group who wants to participate in rev share?
Yeah, and I'm going to be completely honest and transparent. I've been just leveraging John, right? And I think, people in this group should be leveraging you, right? And you put on these like that you're doing what John does actually, in my position. I've been leveraging him and his trainings, his calls, and I've just been plugging people in. And that's what John has always said. It's like just plug people into these, like this call right now, plug
Yeah.
people into the production training. And that's why for me, I've been quite passive in that sense, but that's why now, like, I'm ready to like step up into like, I guess your role or John Sai's role, and to really now become, I would say, I feel like I am a leader, but I would say a community builder. That's what but I wasn't able to see that vision because for the longest time I'm like, what name should I come up with? And I was like, the Wolf Pack was so cool, it's such a cool name. Should I put a tiger in my name? Like, I was so confused for the longest time. I wasn't able to see the vision until recently. Like this vision kind of came to me. And then now that I have such a clear vision of what it is that I want to achieve, I'm ready to go guns blazing now.
Love it. Love it. Well, we our group is called the Freedom Team.
Yes,
We kind of came up sort of similar what you're trying to get accomplished there with the life changers. I love it. And we get together for those I think everybody here might know, but if not, every Thursday we have another one, Denise. We get on and it's have one of the leaders on our team who's phenomenal, written a couple books, very articulate, great at role playing, creative ideas. But he comes in and every Thursday we do a little bit of motivation, inspiration. Then he opens it up for role play, kind of helps hold you accountable. Anyway, for those wanting to really plug into RevShare, this is interview, and then Thursday, Eric gets to take it to another level. But I want to mention this because I think you've been on a few times. Every Wednesday, for anybody here that wants to participate, please send me a message. Let me know. We're getting on every Wednesday from noon to 1, and we're doing live calls, just like they do on Attraction Flow. We got myself, Trish. I know, Kate, you've been on there a few times. So anybody wants to just like here you are, you're right on the cusp of getting ready to get started, which like, oh gosh, what do I say? Even though we got the scripts, man, jump on a Wednesday from noon to 1, hit me up. If you're not familiar with that, I'll shoot it over to you and just listen to some people make some calls, and that might encourage you as well. So as we wrap up, Denise,
Eastern time?
What's that, my man?
Is that noon Eastern time?
Mountain time. Thank you. Noon to 1 Mountain time. So for you, 2 to 3, or excuse me, you're vice versa. You're Pacific, my friend. So for you, 11 to 12. Anyway, hit me up if you guys want to be a part of that. We got about 4 or 5 minutes left, Denise. Thank you so much for your time. I can tell that as you just started to say that, you're leaning on John, but you've done this organically and you've done it through relationships. So everybody, I hope you gather that. Those that have come with a background in real estate, Scott, I know you're doing it right now with your relationships. There's no better way to start. Reach out to the ones that like you, trust you, and you're just seeing if they're having some challenges, struggles, right? Trying to see if they're open-minded, just to see why almost 100,000 people have moved here in the last 5 years. So great stuff. Any last question or two for Denise before we drop? Anybody?
The only other thing I would ask is, Denise, you talked a little bit about your Christmas party for your team. What else do you do for your team and kind of team building and that connection with your team?
Oh, that's a great question. I actually have a weekly meeting. So we meet in person once a week, and we actually have once a month, we actually go out for a team. I call it's team building. I usually we go out for dinner, and before dinner, I've done different things. We've gone to like a show. I'm actually planning a kickboxing class together. So I'm really building camaraderie within my team. And so now, actually 2025, I'm really focused on like, actually, you know, it's funny today. Today we're actually doing a video recording with my entire team. We're going to be showcasing why they love being on this team, and we're using that as a tool to attract more agents. So it's actually coincidental that we had this call today, because at 4 o'clock, my entire team is coming to my home. I hired a videographer. We're going to be probably shooting for about 3 hours, and we're going to be just talking about how amazing, like how the growth they've had in their 2-3 years that they've been with me, and utilizing that to attract agents. So.
And so is this your 6 on your traditional team? Okay, they're coming together today. I got
Yeah.
it.
So for me, I'm really going to be leveraging my team for agent attraction. That's going to be something that is new for me to do. And I'm actually going to be showing my progress. So I'm actually going to be so if you guys want to like follow me on Denise, like my Instagram, like Denise Mai _real estate, I'm going to be showcasing more of like how I'm leading a team. And it wasn't actually, we just had our team outing yesterday. And I had an honest conversation with them, because I said, you know what, something came to me, and I said, I'm going to be real with you guys. I'm still learning to be a leader. You know, I'm not going to pretend that I have this all figured out, because, you know, sometimes I don't. I'm still learning this process of being a leader and what a great leader is. But I told them I want to thank them for teaching me how to be a great leader, just as much as I'm teaching them how to be a great agent. So yeah, so much is happening right now. It's an exciting time. So if anyone wants to kind of follow the journey, I'm gonna be like showcasing a lot of what I'm doing, of how I'm expanding my team right now. We're actually gonna be hiring a lot of new agents. Probably gonna be bringing on 4 agents. So I'm gonna be showcasing how I'm doing that. It's gonna be agent attraction, but at the same time, team building, bringing my team, and then how I'm building this community. So I'm going to be opening it up to how I'm doing it, the how-to process of the journey.
So you're going to grow your traditional team up to about 10 agents. Those new 4 that you want to bring on, will you potentially put them below some of those 6, or will they continue to be your front line as you shoot for that 45 to 50?
It depends. It really depends. I think with these 4 or 5, the goal would be to be my front line for sure. And then once I build that 10, like it depends. If it's one of my agents who on my team who brought on that agent, I'm going to definitely put them underneath them. But if it's somebody that I brought on myself, I'm going to bring them on under me. Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, Denise, hey, we are so thankful, grateful you spent a few minutes. Congrats on your success. Being in the top 1% is unreal. To have a group of almost 300 agents, everybody here would love to be at that point. So guys, thank you for jumping on again tomorrow. Don't miss. I just know Russ Lagan's one of the best, to me, one of the best presenters we've ever had. Always has a way of inspiring you and giving you some nuggets to help increase your production. So jump on that tomorrow as well. Other than that, Denise, once I get the recording, I'll shoot it over to you. You guys, again, thank everybody for jumping on. Let's make it an incredible week. You guys, so we sincerely appreciate it. Denise, thank you again, dear, and congrats.
Thank you, Denise.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks a lot.
All right, have a great day, gang.
Bye.